everyone, Leslie from Discovery Fabrics. Continuing in our little series on families of Polartec fabrics, we're going to talk a little bit about classic fleece. So Polartec is a mill, it is not a fabric, and they make many fabrics. We are going to be talking about classic fleece in that it is not power stretch, it's not thermal pro, it's not the high loft families, it's just basically their fleece family. So how Polartec classifies their fleeces in the classic fleece is by weight. So really up into 100 grams per square meter, they consider that to be like a micro fleece. And then from 100 to 200, they consider that to be 100 fleece. From anything over 200 up to 300 grams per square meter is considered to be a 200 fleece, and 300, obvious, over 300 is 300 fleece. But having said that, there is going to be a lot of different weights and styles, say for example, that are all considered to be a 200 weight. There's a lot of difference between 201 grams and 299 grams, but they're all 200. So starting here, we don't have a huge selection now, but we are getting quite a few microfleeces coming in the fall. And so I want to talk a little bit about what we do have here. So right here is an example of 200 fleece. Now this original Polartec fleece is so beautiful compared to what you often see in stores. It's very luxurious and squishy, and you'll notice that Polartec fleece has a lot of longevity and durability. So it's not going to ball or pill right away. Literally, I've had a jacket that I've made years and years ago, and it still looks amazing, and I've worn it so much. So 200 weight fleece. Then we don't have examples of 300 in the store at the moment, but I am going to show you Microfleece. So this is probably 100 weight of Microfleece. This is style Peak Purple. The color is Peak Purple, style 6125. And next to that, we also have a Microfleece, but it's substantially thinner. So I'm going to see if I can show you, and then I'm going to tell you the reason for this. See, this is actually quite a bit thinner. Now, even though this is a different style than this, the reason that this one is flattened is because we have a lot of our Polartec fabrics custom printed. So when they're printed, they go through rollers to put the dye paper. The sublimation process actually is dye that's on paper that's put onto the fabric. And you'll notice that it does flatten it, but it doesn't change the warmth of it, which is very important. And it's the only way that we can get these really cool prints that we do on a lot of the Polartec fabrics. So these are both micro fleeces, but I'm going to show you Grid Fleece. Now, Grid Fleece simply has a grid on the face. So it's important to remember because many Polartec fabrics may have a grid, and sometimes that grid goes against the body depending on what the fabric is. This is a Microfleece. This is cosmetic. It's got no reason for this except that it looks really fun and cool. This is used by companies such as Malden in the States to make their hoodies that people actually get in line for, and there's waiting lists for them. Really, it's just Microfleece that has this grid finish to it, and it's no different in warmth or use than any of their Microfleeces. These are amazingly soft fleeces. Just lovely for transition pullovers, and so much you can do with this.
Really breathable too.
Super breathable. And you know, no scrap gets wasted because it makes amazing gaiters or hats or mitt liners or ear warmers. There's so much you can do with it. Next to that, we have this really fun color, which we call Big Bird. And this is also Polartec Grid Fleece, but really this is a 200 weight fleece. So this is no different in function than the first fleece that I showed you, which is Polartec 200, but it just doesn't have a grid to it. They feel a little different, but they're both very soft, and you would use them in the same way. This style is 6270, and you'll notice that these are both grid fleeces, but one is a micro, and it's quite thin and light, and the other is a much heavier one, so definitely gonna see differences in those. I actually have still put these fabrics together in the same garment. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you know, body mapping is all about putting warmth where you need it. So sometimes you want to have warmth over your core, and you may want something that's not as warm on your arms. So, you know, you can mix and match those, no problem at all. So if you have any questions, please ask in our Facebook group, So Inspired by Discovery Fabrics.